Chapter 275. Sinisto's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets when he saw this scene. He hesitated for a moment, but he didn't expect Thea to beat him to it. He no longer cared about his mental state and grabbed the yellow light ring with the conviction that he was ready to die. Thankfully, the yellow light ring didn't make things difficult for him again, allowing him to calm down. After pondering for a moment, Sinisto recited his yellow light oath. The dark day is vast. The white night is clear. Evil followers and traitors, fear my divine light. Terrible fire burns, and those who oppose me perish. With fear as the source, eternal light. When he recited the last sentence, Sinisto was extremely hesitant, but he didn't dare to mention anything about Side's authority. Just like Thea's clothes, he was also wearing yellow and black tights. He didn't care much about his clothes. Just like Thea, he pulled out a large blob of yellow energy from the void and announced loudly, "I'm also the leader of the Yellow Light Corps. I'm Tal Sinisto. I announce that I'll be in control of the Yellow Light Ring's energy and create a new Yellow Light Ring." Thea felt like laughing when she saw this scene. After her disruption, the power of the first Yellow Light Ring had been reduced by half. Sinisto's dream of going solo had been cut in half by her before it even began. Even if his ambitions were still there, he would need to put in more effort than before to realize them. Perhaps he wouldn't even be able to rebel. What if he worked in the Green Light Corps for the rest of his life? Thinking about it, if he became Ion Knight Sinisto, that didn't sound too bad. If Thea felt like laughing, the old fogies almost laughed out loud. Even with hundreds of millions of years of acting experience, they couldn't hide the joy in the corners of their eyes. They pretended to be serious as they watched Thea and Sinisto sort out their new abilities. The communication between their consciousnesses could only be described as relaxed and happy. The yellow light had turned into such a ghastly state. The initial powerful energy had been split in two, and Sinisto still wanted to rebel? Just do your job. The crisis of their general betraying them had been greatly delayed. The few of them were suppressing their emotions, afraid that they would agitate Sinisto, who was still their strongest fighter, if they revealed an excited expression. Sigh! Thea sorted out her new abilities. It was a pity that the first yellow ring had been split apart. Although its power was still superior to other rings of the same color, many of its functions were unavoidably damaged. The yellow ring's realization, protective shield, high-speed flight, and wormhole ability still existed, but one of Yellow Lamp's powerful abilities had been split into two. This ability was called Instilling Fear. The original lantern ring found the target of the target's fear, then magnified it 10 times or 100 times, scaring the enemy until they couldn't take care of themselves. But now, Thea's ring had obtained the ability to see the source of the target's fear, and Sinisto had obtained the ability to magnify 100 times. Such a powerful skill had been dismantled and destroyed. Thea was in a better situation. She found the origin energy of fear and used it as a short movie to watch. Then, she combined it with her magic to create an illusion and cause some trouble. Sinisto, on the other hand, was in trouble. He didn't know magic, so who knew what the enemy was afraid of? He had to try it out one by one. Both of them were unhappy when they saw this. But after all, Sinisto had obtained most of the ring's functions, such as energy birth, environment playback, invisibility, light refraction, cell regeneration, and energy absorption. Thea had obtained phase shift, space warp, emergency teleportation, and an unbelievable ability, Kryptonian recharge. What the hell was this? The Yellow Lantern ring also had a part of the sun's ability? Thea looked at it for a long time but still couldn't figure it out. She only knew that the Green Lantern ring could imitate the wavelength of kryptonite radiation, but the Yellow Lantern ring could actually recharge. One was damaging while the other was replenishing. Thea felt the deep malice of the world's will towards the Kryptonians. In summary, Sinisto had obtained all the skills that leaned towards combat, while Thea had obtained all the skills that could help her escape. This made her a little speechless. She felt that the Yellow Lantern ring was mocking her from the bottom of her heart. If there was a benefit to the Yellow Lantern ring being split into two, it would be that when facing the Blue Lantern ring, which could restrain the Yellow Lantern ring, it would be restrained. But from Sinisto's expression, although he had obtained most of the Yellow Lantern ring's abilities, he was not satisfied. He was extremely dissatisfied. The yellow lantern ring did not change his strength drastically. He, the self-proclaimed leader, had no binding power over Thea, not to mention that she had the Book of Parallax. Lord Guardian, may I know what this book is? Thea looked at the book for a long time. Other than a few hieroglyphs on the cover that automatically told her the meaning, there was not a single word in the book. It was just a blank book. What was the use of it? The little blue man explained to her word by word. The parallax comes from the wall of origin. That is the edge of the universe, the origin of all existence. It is unknown where his true body exists, but the yellow energy comes from the antimatter realm. I believe you have passed through the antimatter realm on your way to Ura. That place cannot be understood by science, logic, or inference. It is the opposite of all rational beings. The yellow lantern ring's energy comes from there, the Guardian said as he pointed at the yellow energy in Sinisto's hand. As for the book in your hand, it should be the Yellow Lantern Corps' roster. Every Corps member will have their name imprinted on it. They will abide by the rules set by the two of you. There will be rewards for meritorious service and punishments for transgressions. There might be other effects, so you will have to figure it out yourself. This book is similar to the Book of Ura of our Green Lantern Corps, but the energy for the book will have to be collected by you. Thea nodded. Wasn't this just a roster? Sinisto would recruit people, record their names, and give them all kinds of benefits? According to the settings of the past, Sinisto would be the red stick in charge of recruiting people to fight, while she would be the white paper fan in charge of logistics. There was nothing else to say. She had to imprint her name on it first. As Thea thought, she imprinted her name on the first line of the first page under Sinisto's murderous gaze. I am the leader. I should be the one to register first. Sinisto was so angry that he pointed his finger at Thea, almost unable to speak. Humph, don't think I didn't see it. You secretly made a charging yellow lantern, right? Why didn't you give me one? Thea had long seen Sinisto's little trick. Was he bullying her for not knowing that these lantern rings needed to be charged frequently? Ha! I know a lot. You want to rely on this lantern to suppress Thea? Dream on. Sinisto had no choice but to use the yellow energy to make a lantern and pass it to Thea. Thea looked at it and tested it with the lantern ring. Sure enough, it could be charged. Only then did she pass the parallax book to Sinisto. Using the lantern ring to record his name on the book, Sinisto saw his name on the second line, and there was no need to mention how sullen he felt. However, it had to be said that this person was really ambitious and ruthless. He was about to explode from anger, but he still calmly discussed the various rules and regulations with Thea. Sinisto, who didn't dare to betray the Green Lantern Corps for the time being, could be said to be experienced and knowledgeable. Thea managed a listed company, so the various rules and regulations were like child's play to her. The two of them quickly discussed a rough draft. Chapter 276. With the plan in place, Sinisto would be in charge of the recruitment. Once the staff was recruited, he would go to Earth to get a stamp from Thea. They would be official workers. What would happen if they weren't stamped? The ring that Thea blew up was one of the possible outcomes for temporary workers. What if he couldn't find Thea when he arrived on Earth? Just wait. Would Moira be scared of all kinds of strange aliens coming to Star City every day? The answer was yes. Without a doubt, the location would be in Seaside City. Presumably, the residents of Seaside City wouldn't mind setting up an office of the Yellow Lantern Corps next to the Green Lantern Corps' office on Earth. The huge Green Lantern Corps could also help the weak Yellow Lantern Corps. The two corps might even defend the peace of the universe together in the future. In short, Thea and Sinisto's first cooperation wasn't a pleasant one. However, both of them restrained themselves and didn't fight, which disappointed the sinister little blue men who were prepared to watch a good show. Sinisto made an excuse that he was severely mentally injured and flew away. He didn't mention anything about the parallax demon. Anyway, Thea would be there to deal with it. It would be better if he died. Thea couldn't be as detached as him. Although there were many hidden strong people on Earth, she was still a little worried. The little blue men seemed to kindly remind her that, with the speed of the parallax demon, it would arrive on Earth in 10 minutes. Why don't you hurry over? Faced with the little blue men's attitude, Thea was a little depressed. No wonder Sinisto wanted to rebel and Hal wanted to kill them all. These guys really didn't leave a good impression on her. She had helped them so much to prevent the division of the Green Lantern Corps, but there were no rewards or benefits. They didn't even say a word of thanks. These bastards. Thea wasn't someone to be trifled with either. Ever since she met Batman, she hadn't learned much about martial arts or science, but her skin had thickened considerably. She pretended not to see the other party's intention to chase her away and continued to talk to them. Respected Guardians, the humans on Earth are few and weak. I'm afraid we won't be able to fight against the Parallax demons. We will continue to seek the Green Lantern Corps' assistance. Thea's words were sincere, and her voice was gentle and moving, making her listeners cry. She automatically ignored Superman, Diana, and other powerful people. In her description, the people on Earth were all children with cerebral palsy, and their strength was so weak that it made people's hair stand on end. If you don't send troops, we'll be dead. However, the Guardians had lived for hundreds of millions of years. Weren't they just shameless? Who didn't know how to do that? Several of the Guardians took turns telling Thea about the difficulties of the Green Lantern Corps. They talked about how large the area they governed was, how the quality of the members was uneven, and how many of them had died in battle. They made it sound as if 100 Green Lanterns were dying every second. Thea was completely defeated by their shamelessness. She was so embarrassed that she couldn't say anything. How about this? This is a war between the Yellow Lantern Corps and the Parallax demons. It's not appropriate for us to participate too much. However, Hal Jordan is a great Green Lantern warrior. He can represent us in the war to protect Earth. Shay almost spat in his face. What great Green Lantern warrior? Are you talking about Hal Jordan? With just a few words from you? Hal Jordan was upgraded to a great Green Lantern warrior? This great Green Lantern warrior was too worthless. Besides, Hal Jordan had already flown to Earth. Whether you approve or not is meaningless. Thea finally experienced the highest level of shamelessness. She was deeply impressed. She could only speechlessly say goodbye to the Guardians. Wearing the Yellow Lantern ring felt completely different from wearing the previous temporary Green Lantern ring. Although more than half of its functions were missing, the power of the first ring was far greater than the subsequent rings, not to mention the temporary Yellow Lantern ring that was just a replica. A lot of knowledge about space flashed through her mind. The teleportation of the Yellow Lantern ring was different from magical teleportation. Its theory was completely on the physical level. It was very similar to the theory of the Einstein-Rosen bridge on Earth. It used the gravitational field equation to connect 2 points to create a wormhole. What a magical theory! Thea waved at the Guardians and stepped forward into the wormhole. They passed by 15 planets in a row. Some of them were desolate, and some of them were filled with all kinds of strange creatures. Some of them were worshipping Sia, who had appeared out of thin air, and many of them were attacking her with all kinds of weapons. Thea didn't waste any time and continued to teleport. Took her a lot of effort to master how to use the wormhole. When Thea returned to Seaside City, it was less than 10 minutes before the Parallax demons arrived. With the Eye of Horus, she saw Green Lantern Hal Jordan evacuating the crowd. Beside him should be his girlfriend, Carol Ferris. The two of them were constantly persuading the nearby residents to evacuate. Unfortunately, most of the residents sneered at him when he said that there would be a big monster descending from the sky in 10 minutes. This guy is really inexperienced. How many people can you persuade with such empty words? A city with a population of 7 million. It would take at least 3 to 5 years to persuade them one by one. Thea took out her phone and dialed the emergency number of the Heaven's Eye Society. What's the matter? Amanda's voice came from the phone. Thea was a little relieved. This black-hearted, iron-blooded woman was very reliable in this emergency. Listen to me, Amanda. I don't have much time. I'm only going to say this once. A scary monster is flying from the outer sky to Seaside City. Do you still remember the toad that knocked you out? It was attracted by him. I need you to immediately evacuate the residents of Seaside City. Time is tight, so I'm counting on you. Thea hung up the phone after she finished speaking. She still had to call another person. Uncle Bruce, listen to me. Thea repeated the long story again. In the end, she got to her real purpose. The last time we fought the big zombie, can you still contact your friend in the blue shirt and red cape? Seaside City needs him. Of course, you'd better come. Although Bruce Wayne felt that it was a little ridiculous, his strong mental fortitude allowed him to make a calm judgment. He believed Thea's words and said that the person he contacted would arrive soon. He was also rushing to Seaside City. Without seeing the Parallax Demon, there was no way to refer to the plot of the movie. With the help of the two cheats, Superman and Batman, he should have some confidence. If he really couldn't beat them, he could open a wormhole and escape with his family. Some of the planets they passed by on the way were quite suitable for living. Although Thea did not dare to contact Moira directly, she still told Felicity. Alien monster. Felicity's voice was an octave higher. She heartlessly said that she would hack into a few satellites to watch the live broadcast. Sigh. Thea sighed. Felicity's way of thinking was indeed different from ordinary people. A normal person would have been scared out of their wits. What was her emotion? It was excitement, the kind of joy that came from coming into contact with a secret. What a weirdo.